Okay, everybody's got a fucking podcast. I mean, we have a podcast, so obviously anyone can do it.
Wait, this is a podcast?
Are you recording right now?
Technical difficulties.
No, you don't have to say anything. I'm gonna edit it out.
Technical difficulties.
Okay.
I put mayonnaise on a pickle.
It was not the best, but it might have been the worst.
Do my feet? I mean, my feet stink, right?
Yeah. Begin.
Fight!
All right. So, Ocean's 13. As far as the plot on this one, I know we said plot through bullet points, whatever. I felt like it'd be a little cumbersome to just go through the whole plot. So I said Ruben gets screwed on a business deal. The gang figures out how to screw the guy that screwed Ruben.
That's it.
Yeah.
that's the whole shebang, buddy.
Yeah. So, yeah, we can move past that. What you liked about this movie? I said I just liked it. It's the same thing I liked about the other two. We're introduced to our guys, obviously 2 movies ago, so we know them pretty well by now.
We don't have to do the 20-minute intro sequence for who's the gang, why does anyone care?
Yeah. So we already have the existing friendships. The Danny Rusty shorthand is always fun. Some of the things, the way they can have lines for them without really doing any writing at all, is funny. Relationships can be sure, but they can also be like, okay, you did no work there. What am I, a pancake eater? Like, just the stuff like that.
Yeah, it's. I'd love to see how much of this was like kind of ad libbed or just like a. All right, go run through it. Let's just get the vibe down, and they're like, no, I like that. Let's go for that.
Yeah.
Let's say nothing but take up screen time.
Yeah. Just the friendships with everybody overall. It's a good feeling movie, I wasn't as into it at first, I'd say, but it's like aesthetically pleasing, just moving through the whole thing. And it's like a hang. It's more like a cool hang. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. It's like the NBA All-Star game. Let's do some cool stuff, but nobody get hurt.
Yeah.
So we got.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely kind of like that it in some of these other movies it feels like you're kind of like hanging out with your friends a little bit, kind of like you said, it's the hang, it's like I feel like I'm part of the team, and I'm just watching us like do the heist.
Yeah.
I feel very in on it, and I feel like that's something that they do a pretty good job of, making you feel like you're kind of part of the crew a little bit, just because, in the way that they say a lot of things without saying it. There's so much reading in between the lines with some of the characters and the dialogue. It makes me feel like I'm part of it, and I feel like that just makes it more enjoyable to watch, kind of thing. And then also just the obnoxious amount of layering that gets done, as far as like all these like weird subplots and everyone else being involved, and just the way it develops through the story.
Yeah.
At some point, it just feels ridiculous, but it still like weaves all in together. It's not stupid shit for stupid shit's sake.
Yeah.
It does actually kind of matter and is meaningful in a way. So I really like the way that they added in some stuff that I was just like, why are we even bothering with this? But it still finished off really well.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a couple points with that in the what I didn't like. And I did... So, like, I hate even saying, like, what I didn't like, if we're going with that, because, like, I did none of it bothered me, per se. It's just, it's kind of more like the, well, why that and why this, It's more just the, oh, look, there's a scratch there. Because my thing was, so the first thing, just a couple things didn't make sense, really. So, the first, there's no way Go-Go Gadget X-Ray Safe is a thing. That thing in the beginning with Rusty. I mean, it'd be cool. It looked cool. But there's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Not a thing.
If there is, I mean, I'm open to being wrong there. Cause,
if we're wrong, let us know.
Yeah. The second would be the everybody was not bothered at all by the Malloy brothers starting a labor strike during this operation that seemed to have a bit of a time crunch on it.
Yeah. It seemed very business as usual, and everyone's just like, oh, well,
Yeah. Well, what are you going to do? It's like, well, they shut the factory down. seems very crucial to the operation. Everybody's
Yeah.
like, oh.
And even just for, I guess, it to surmount into like it was like $36,000 or something. Was
Yeah.
like, he's like, yeah, 36,000 a piece. That's like $7 million. Like, no,
No,
just-
total.
just total. They're like,
Okay.
I'll write a check. Just seems so like, I guess like inconsequential a little way where it's like, hey,
Yeah.
why are we even talking about this? Just send him a check. Like, let's go.
Right. But like for me, it's just that time of like we're just wasting all this time on this strike, and then it's like the thing happens soon. We got to get the dice. And
Yeah. But it's, you know, it's
everybody was
they,
just so cool about it.
well, you know, when they send the other brother in, and then like he's just in on it immediately. Like
Yeah.
it takes him no convincing. He's like, yeah, no, revolution, people of revolution, let's go.
Yeah, we'll light this cocktail and throw it over the fence.
Such a team player.
The third thing for me was, I mean, it was obviously funny. It was all very
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
Again, not complaining about it. Just the third thing is just the end, like half language barrier at this point. Like it's barely even a thing. Like I guess everybody knows enough Chinese and he knows enough English
Yeah.
that he just says some things that aren't even subtitled. And people, I mean, granted, it's been that way for a couple movies now, but it's just funny how, like, no one ever. We learned Chinese, I guess,
Yeah.
over the course of it, but
Because even I think like Linus was, you know, like communicating with a bit there, and it's like obviously he was the newest guy, and he's probably spent the least amount of time talking to him, and it's like, oh, he just learned Chinese.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't believe that one bit.
So the fourth thing was the card shuffler hustle. So you know, Livingston. There we go. Livingston calls up Roman about, you know, he's having trouble with his task or whatever.
Yeah.
So then Roman's in on it because Roman's the one that delivers the shufflers later. But then Linus's dad, who's part of the gaming commission, turns out, you know, he's Linus's dad, right? And so then he's the one that arrests Livingston. Livingston has his little smile in the back of the cop car because he's like, no, it's fine.
Yeah.
You know, so Livingston's in on it, but then they're all freaking out because they're like, oh, well, we got to stop those FBI files from getting to bank, and we got to change the faces on it. And then Virgil, you know, hacks in and does it. But if Linus's dad is on their team the whole time, I mean, like, wouldn't he either just, like, not send it or, like, do that for them before he sent it, or, like, do them some sort of solid if he's in on it anyway?
Yeah.
And then when they know Livingston's really not getting arrested, per se,
I don't know. It's like, is that really more of just them like trying to sell it to us to be like, oh no, like until we get the twist that it's his dad. It's like, are we just supposed to be like kind of nervous or whatever? But yeah, I don't know. It just it seems like it's like, well, why do we care? Like, why are we going through this effort? Why are we stressing? Like, just he'll take care of it. It's fine.
right. So, I don't know. So that one kind of got me. Also, there's a deleted scene there where I guess Roman shows up to help Livingston with the
Okay.
shuffler. And then, you know, how we have our actual earthquake after they, you know, start the drill.
Yeah.
So apparently, like, Roman said, have you guys ever considered that you might cause an actual earthquake when you do that? And, you know, he's like, oh, no. You think that'll happen? He's like, good. And so then it happened. So kind of funny that got taken out. But yeah. So that was my fourth thing.
Fair.
And then fifth and final thing is Terry looked like he was sitting there watching a screen that we never got to see, you know, with the whole Linus and Mrs. Sponder situation.
Yeah.
And so he would have known that the diamonds did not get stolen, because when would Linus have done it? If he's sitting there watching
Well, I
it-
think he's flipping through a bunch of screens, so maybe he's just
all right,
monitoring
maybe,
the whole thing. Because I feel like we saw a couple different sequences from like his perspective. Because I think we see the screen at like once or, you know, a handful of times throughout it of what he's looking at.
Yeah.
But yeah, the fact that Terry's even in this movie is kind of weird to me.
Yeah. I don't know. So I was just kind of like, he should have known that the diamonds did not get stolen, and then the Francois thing on the roof, and
Yeah.
it was just like, all right, this is goofy.
Yeah. Also, just like such a low utilization of him at the end of this, just to like show up, haha, I'm gonna take your diamonds now. And granted, the jump off the roof was kind of slick, but
Yeah.
yeah, it just seemed like such of a waste with like how like kind of cool but also lame he was in the last one, where it's like he was supposed to be, you know, their nemesis a little bit, but he was just doing acrobatics and backflips and shit to
Yeah.
rob a museum. I don't know. I just felt like they could have used them in either a funnier way or like more involved way. But
Well, and again, they cheated, so
Yeah.
like it does. He shouldn't have been made to look like a fool in the last one anyway.
Yeah.
We won't dwell on that. Okay, so what didn't you like?
you kind of touched on a lot of things. So like number one, I thought just Terry's involvement was such a cheap way just to get like basically cameo characters involved. It's like, oh no, we used all of our money on this drill and now we need another drill and we have to buy it. It's like, haha, it's your future past nemesis and I have so much money and I just for some reason want to work with you because I don't like this other guy because his building casts a shadow on my pool.
Hey, you ever had a building cast a shadow on your pool?
Never had a pool.
Yeah, me either.
But yeah, so just I think the cameo utilization of both him and Francois were just kind of weak. And I mean, it's nice to have them in there just for like their little parts, I guess. But you know, when I think about like how the second one started, you know, it was like oh shit, like you know, Terry's involved, like shit's about to go down.
Yeah.
And then in this one, it just seemed like he was a little bit of like I know I'm gonna get played in this, but I'm kind of bored, so here's $36 million.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely had some issues with I guess kind of the cameo and the usage of them there. And then yeah, I think just the other hand of the other side of the coin of all the layers is that I like that it worked out together, that there was still no reason for all of those layers to exist.
Yeah.
It just I think I wrote down kind of all the shit, where is it? But yeah, it's like the heist, it's Terry's heist. We got Francois in there. We got the Linus's dad. We got the Mexican strike thing going on for the factories. And it's like so much of it felt inconsequential by the end of it, but just the fact that they could kind of make it all work together was good.
Yeah.
So it's a good and a bad because it just shouldn't have worked out, but it just happened to.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of so like watching the commentaries. What Soderbergh says is he goes these movies are just kind of like a chance for me to play, you know. And so then when we have like our unnecessary layering, it makes me think like, oh, so he's just like, well, why not? I mean, granted, he doesn't write these, but I don't know. That's just all I think is like, well, who cares what's happening? I'm just playing around,
Yeah.
you know, being goofy. So
No, that makes sense. And just because he was able to kind of staple everything together, you know, it's fine enough, but it does get a little bit like, I was like, really? Like, we're on strike in Mexico? I was like, how is this going to move the plot forward?
yeah.
But then we did get that at the end. I think it was Nestor was the guy who's like, Nestor says hi or whatever to the guy working at the casino. So
He says stay strong.
yeah. So like it works out, but yeah, I don't know. Felt like a lot.
Yeah. Damn, I was gonna say something else. I can't remember. It's like this one's kind of like Ocean's Greatest Hits, you know.
A little bit.
You know, you leave the females out, but yeah,
It's not their fight.
it's not their fight. So for bad trailer, again, this one's kind of just. I feel like it just kind of is what it is. I don't know that you could really spin it any other way, but the attempt I had was just corporate America casino held up by, you know, Mexican factory workers that stand up and take what's theirs, you know, which could also kind of double as a bad summary.
Sure.
And then my actual bad summary, well, no, do your bad trailer if you have one.
Yeah. So I had two, and both of them were very heavy on the Mexican strike.
Yeah.
So one was just like a political thing about just like the strike in general. You know, so it's just more of a, I guess, like covering the conditions in Mexico, the Molotov getting thrown over. I just felt like that could have been just like the whole trailer was just all the Mexico sequences.
Yeah.
But then also the like coming to America story, if we pretend that like the brother who is in Mexico is the worker who is at the casino.
Sure.
So it's like it's the going through the strike, the revolution there, and then like maybe things don't work out, so then he comes to America to work at the casino.
Dig it.
So those were kind of the two ideas I went with.
Yeah. Bad summary I had, I mean, you gotta kind of play along here, but The Godfather and Oceans existed in the same universe. Michael Corleone joins witness protection and his casino goes under. And then the other thing is it would be about Linus. Upon his friend falling ill, one man is made very uncomfortable by his friend's openness of sexuality and emotions to the point of derailing his ill friend's recovery. Because Linus did not read the letters to Ruben, and he also asked for porno mags that he did not bring.
Yeah. He's like, I can't buy that stuff.
Yeah.
Linus is such a marshmallow.
Yes.
Bad summaries I had was local vegetable takes a second chance at life to gamble. Just because Ruben does, come back and go to the casino.
Yeah.
And then this is just more accurate. Earthquake hits major casino, causing millions in damage.
That works. For bad casting, I said if Clooney and Pacino switch roles, or Connery and Pacino's role, and then I said Mr. Bean is Rusty.
Ooh, that would have been something. So for mine, I had Michael Cera as Linus, just to really double down on the just
The pathetic.
crazy, pathetic awkwardness. And also, I just would have loved to see the big nose on Michael Cera and then him trying to swoon Ellen Barkin, was the actress, who was Beth in Diner.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. When I was looking through notes this morning, it was like, famous for their role in Diner in 1982. I was like, no shit, who was she?
I was looking at her face probably recognize you from something, but I didn't dig into it.
Yeah.
Wow, that's funny.
So, yeah, I thought that was cool. One we did before. So, if you like the movie Diner, go back and check out our podcast on that.
Yeah, you could go bad summary on that one. Diner girl divorces what's his face and fails casino.
Yeah.
But all right, so notes. Let's do my quick breeze through here.
Sure.
No way that's an X-ray safe. But that's cool. I like Pacino in this role. Hey, it's Nagel. Billy Martin, reverse Big House. Love the made-up names for things that effectively mean nothing. Danny looks like a knockoff Antonio Banderas. Love the disguise. Shouldn't Rusty be wearing one? Literally his partner in crime. Love the hippie look on Rusty. Denny Weiss equals Jerry Weintraub, the producer of this movie. The high roller guy. Livingston has it rough. Pin in his shoe. Can't get his stuff to work. Always has a rough time. Love the Godfather reference. I hear cars pulling in. I hear whispering conversations. Linus crying. Why don't you tell me what everyone seems to know? Welcome back, Terry. Upon second watch, I know this is out of order, but Sal and Turk foreshadow the VUP. By the way, that's just how that guy's credited, the actual Diamond Standard
very
reviewer.
unimportant person.
Yeah,
Great.
That's literally how they credit him. Though it's just a throwaway line, the thing where he goes, it's kind of seems like torture, and they say the thing about war, and all's fair in war, and then it's but he gets the Susan B. Anthony at the airport. He's like, would you do it for $10 million? I'd do it for $11 million. And then he wins $11 million. So I didn't realize that first time through. But I've never been on elevators that fast. I don't believe those are a thing. The way Danny and Rusty have dialogue multiple times this movie with no real writing is funny. What do I look like? A pancake eater? Relationships can be. Sure. Oprah scene, their friendship. Danny and Rusty, love it. The Malloys start a strike during this operation. It's so Malloy. It's great. The yen language barrier that feels, granted I covered this and like it. Love that Turk doesn't know how many states there are. I'm an animal in the other 34. 24. 22. And then he says, I was offering you an olive basket, which I don't think is a
olive
thing
branch
either. Yeah. Bruiser is back just to win some money. It's literally one shot of Bruiser.
Yep.
The real earthquake was... Okay, no, I said the deleted scene thing. Not going to say that again. Fireworks scene reminiscent of the end of 11. Thought we might address Linus's refusal to read the letters here, but oh well. You think this is funny? Well, Terry, it sure as shit ain't sad. Love that Terry got on Oprah. And then that would be my conclusion. So,
yeah.
Breeze through yours.
Sure. First thing I had was just it's not their fight. We're just completely cutting out the women folk, and just any reference that we make to talking about them is just in the most short, abbreviated, non-actual context-giving thing.
Yeah.
They were like, we don't want to explain why they're not here. They're just not here. So, love that. Setup seemed odd so far, just in general. Just Ruben has basically a heart attack by getting screwed over, and then everyone's like, well, I guess we're just going to take this casino down and cause an earthquake. It's like we're escalating here pretty quick.
Yep.
We spent a lot of time flopping back and forth. We did like 4 weeks ago, and then like 6 months later, and then like another flashback, and then back to the current time again. I was like, I feel like I'm stuck in a time machine. Harped on the strong suit always being just the info dump and planning stages. So whenever they're just kind of going through like the general plan idea, and we get all the montage. That's what I'm thinking of.
Sure.
We get the planning montage, just all the screens moving through. That's one of my favorite things out of these movies is just the info dump and the plan dump. The way they present it is so good. Still, the same issue as the last one. The financial impact that planning this operation has on them has to be ridiculous. And then, obviously that goes in more to at the end where we still need $36 million from Terry. A quote that I absolutely loved out of this was with the guy, I can't think of what his name, but it was like that consultant guy they brought in who was telling them about the security system.
Yeah, Nagel. Roman Nagel.
Yeah. Forget his name. He was telling them, he was like, you're analog players in a digital world. And I thought that was a really good way to say you guys are getting too old for this shit kind of thing. So I just thought that was a really good quote. And then when they're talking about an exabyte, which is, like 1 million terabytes or something, it's a shit ton of data, and I don't think there's that much storage. There's that much data at that casino. Just throwing that out there. Cool. When they were talking about picking the natural disasters as far as how they were going to kind of do their plan of attack, though, I 100% thought we were going to go with a flood because that would be more permanent damaging to the casino.
Yeah.
But they went with an earthquake, which just seems like even more dangerous because, if that building just collapses, it's a big-ass building. It's a lot of fatalities.
Yeah.
Linus is still awkward as hell, and I love him. The weird cleaning montage that they did when they were setting up the very unimportant person's room was like visually difficult to watch.
Yeah.
With all like the opaque layers going on top of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I struggled just to watch it. It hurt my eyes. And I was like, the real long con here is just to make him hate this casino so goddamn much.
Yeah.
The fact that there's a Mexican factory strike subplot at all is ridiculous.
Yes.
Drills are expensive. I hate that we're bringing back Terry Benedict, and then right after, I love that we're bringing back Terry Benedict. And we're just adding work to like an already difficult heist just for the fuck of it, It's like, okay, this is already going to be very difficult. I also need you to get these impossible to get diamonds. Good luck. And they're just like, okay, we'll figure it out. One thing that annoyed me was that when they're kind of going through like all the blueprints that Rusty was talking about and he's drawing things, we don't see him at all.
Yeah.
I feel like we've gotten to see him in the other movies when, we at least have some, blueprint of the building or something, but they just got too lazy and didn't print one out, I guess.
Did feel like a couple shortcuts were taken, yeah.
Yeah, the bastards. I also commented on how quick those elevators moved.
Yes.
Because those things were booking. But I also think about, if you've been in a building that has like 20-some floors, they do move kind of quick. So maybe just from the inside looking out, it's not too bad. But thank God they're not glass and see-through because I'd be freaking out in there.
Yeah.
Love the Oprah bonding moment that Rusty and Danny have, though. And I think that's kind of what triggered the, we're going to get money donated to the kids kind of thing there.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was funny. Ridiculous at $36,000 is all that the factory workers were looking for. I think they said it was like a 5% raise for them.
Yeah, we're talking about $350 a person.
Yeah, ridiculous. I like a character whose biggest weakness is his ego. So talking about Mr. Banks, and then I was like, oh, good, more subplots with the Linus's dad, the game guy. So. The Gilroy is a thing that I need in my life. It's just a quick dab on the neck, and then as soon as that door opened, she was just like floating at him.
Yeah,
and
it's cartoon Pepe Le Pew type shit.
Yeah, I just thought that was funny. And then there was a scene in that too where Linus had like the little champagne flute, and he just like puts the whole thing in his mouth.
Yeah,
and drinks it, and I just thought that was the goofiest shit. I was really excited for Linus to actually get his dick wet. I was like, yes, he's probably losing his virginity right now. It's finally happening to him. I was like that, or he's at least blue balling himself to just the most elaborate extent possible. So either way, props to him. The Samsung Golden Phone Magnetron thing makes no sense to me whatsoever. I don't know how he got his phone ported over to that thing and how a magnetron isn't like a significant weight in this dude's hand.
Maybe it is, and this dude's like, well, it's a gold phone, so.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's got to be heavy, but yeah, even just like bringing it in, and then he's like yelling at everybody, empty your pockets! Does anyone have anything new and weird in their pocket, like a new gold phone? Fuck!
Yeah.
Very out of character for Linus to, I guess, be in that position to get his nut, just because of the awkwardness. But props to him though, because it seems like whenever he's in character, and he delivers pretty well. So props to him. Terry's sitting in his room, just jerking off, watching all the chaos go down. The French dude, Francois, comes in and lit that he just jumps off of the roof. I thought that was cool. I was really hoping we'd have some kind of stunt with the motorcycle dude at some point in this. I felt like we just kind of threw that away.
Yeah, it was thrown away.
They prepped it too much. I like just Terry in general being kind of the agent of chaos character in this, though, where he's just looking to stir the pot, probably out of boredom.
Yeah.
Rusty's a bro. And giving the guy the Susan B. Anthony at the end, getting the money at the end, I thought that was pretty cool. And also just very lucky that the guy was like, okay.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Like someone could have easily just like sat down and gotten it instead, and then the whole thing would have been fucked, and that guy would have just had the worst experience. But I'm glad he did get kind of his reward at the end of it there.
His nuts, so to speak.
His nuts, so to speak. Yeah. But yeah, overall, I thought like the back half of this movie wrapped up pretty well. I thought it started weird, but back half finished up pretty solid.
Solid. All that layering had a payoff finally.
Yeah.
Because it was a little much to follow. As far as what you want to talk about a little more, if we had like a top 5 of said notes, I don't know. I would probably say I would love to know a little more about what kind of life Rusty was living, maybe, at the time.
Sure.
Before this, because it looked like he's just robbing somewhat of maybe one step up, maybe a drugstore is kind of what it looked like, like not quite just a convenience store, but there's still like chips in the eye. It doesn't look big enough for a grocery store.
Yeah.
The fact that we just are shown this little X-ray safe doohickey and we never come back to it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I wanted to see a little more about what Rusty was doing.
And so, like, in kind of thinking of that, I was thinking it was kind of like maybe he has like dudes in training, like he's kind of simmering himself down, but he's like, still kind of going out and doing like these training exercises with people to kind of show him the ropes, leading that next generation. Because I can't imagine that he's just gonna settle down, kind of like what gets suggested at the end is that settle down, have some kids.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine that really made sense to him at the time, and that he just still wants the game, he wants the heist, he wants the plan, and even if he can't do the grand scheme things because it's has some risk, he's like, well, I'll just do this easy shit and just show a bunch of new people how to do it. Maybe that's just fun for him. He's just a teacher.
Also, like, what's the implication of like him and are we like him and Isabel from the last movie? Is that they're not together? Because like Linus still asks like, "Where's Tess and Isabel?" And like, it's not their fight. And of course he's like, "Oh, okay, sorry." Yeah. But he's kind of complaining about their relationship. The whole, when him and Danny are talking. Yeah,
I took that as just like the guys not knowing to talk about, so they bitch about their wives kind of thing. It's like, everything's fine, but oh yeah, she left the towel on the floor or I left the towel on. No, what was it? He dropped a pancake on the floor or whatever. And he's like, how long did you leave it? Till the next morning. I was like,
so what am I, a pancake eater?
Oh man, yeah. No, that was good. But yeah, I was kind of taking that as just like what do you want to talk about? Well, my wife did this stupid thing the other day. it's just a little bit of that easy shooting the shit, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. His life between the movies fascinates me, and I just would have liked to hear some more about it.
Yeah.
So
Would have been a better way maybe to do that intro sequence, because, I just felt like that it started up in a very odd way, and it just didn't do it for me. But
yeah. Also, am I crazy? Did that girl that was like working with Linus's dad kind of look like her? Like, that was the first thought I had. I was like, is that?
I don't know. It didn't click in my head, so I don't know.
Okay. I'm also just bad at that. So
Sure.
You got one?
Yeah. So my I guess like talking point is just the absolute ridiculous of the layers, and I know I've kind of harped on this already, but this plan in general like is already extremely difficult.
Yeah.
Like if it was if everything else was irrelevant, none of the other layers were here. Like this is going to be a very difficult job, getting a drill down there to grind into this thing to cause an earthquake in a building that we're just hoping has the structural integrity to survive a 5.6 earthquake, I think is what they said it's supposed to cause.
Yeah.
Which can take down buildings. Like you can fortify it as much as it can, but it's a glamour building. It's not built for structural integrity. It's built to look hot and take up shadows on Terry's pool.
Yeah.
So yeah, just like where it just felt so high risk and a high % chance for fatalities, and it just didn't really make sense that was the type of risk we were willing to take just to screw banks over.
Yeah.
But they went with that anyways. And then Terry has to come in. He has to be involved in all of this. He wants like what, 250 million worth of diamonds from like across all those necklaces.
Well, he said, now granted he was backdooring them with Francois, but
Yeah.
he said, do with the diamonds what you want, I don't want the diamonds.
Yeah.
So, but he did want his investment doubled. So,
Yeah.
however you do that, but
It was gonna get more than doubled if Francois got away with it. But
Yeah.
you know what? It wouldn't have mattered because then like Francois would have just doubled on him. Like it wouldn't have worked out for Terry in any way.
yeah.
Like there was no % chance he was gonna have a victory out of this. But yeah,
Although, he went on Oprah, so maybe that's the victory.
I guess get some publicity, and I maybe that does bring in some extra money there. But that's the long con. He still wants his money in the bank now. And I guess he did get, all the insurance recompense from, the first movie. So he doesn't
Plus
really
more from them in the last movie. So it's kind of like
he's already
this
win,
guy
and
has
then he's
won
just getting
and
greedy.
won, and so the fact that he loses a little, but then gets to go on Oprah, he never really loses.
Yeah.
This guy.
Yeah. But I also think it's funny just how like it's like, so why do you care about the kids? He's like, I don't care about these fucking kids. I don't know. Like when they're kids, when I just look them in their eyes, I'm like, shit, kid, you need some money in a camp.
You're a bad liar, Terry.
Yeah. So I thought his delivery on that was bad. I'm kind of sick of Linus's familial ties just coming in and saving the day.
Yes.
It needs
2 movies in a row.
Yeah, it needs to stop. It's weak. It shouldn't have happened. It's too much of a crutch, especially when Linus was already, I felt like, doing a little bit better this time around. He was shining a bit. So then, just for his dad to come in and save the day was stupid.
But I felt like it was good we had that reveal. Like for
Just because it's
2
been
movies now,
talked about,
and even in the beginning of this one, where he's on the phone with his dad. No, I'm not putting Danny on or Rusty,
and they're both reaching. Yeah.
He's like, well, maybe you're getting old and soft, Dad, and just that, like, oh, I guess we're still not going to see Linus's dad, and then you get this like, well, good job, I guess. Or, a little early for a victory lap is like the first thing he says to him.
Yeah.
But I feel like that was a good reveal. Like, you had to finally see this, this mythical guy, that's so prolific.
Pretty well, but definitely not like the guy that I imagined as his dad,
No. Especially Bob Einstein was the best. He's just so fucking goofy.
Yeah. But no, that was good. And then I just the casino review dude, just the fact that he just gets fucked on a like second to second basis.
Yeah.
I feel for him so much because we're biologically attacking this man. You know what I mean? Like
war crimes, practically.
Yeah, this broke the Geneva Convention for sure. And again, it seems like a weird stake for our guys to do. And even though he gets $11 million at the end of it, it's like, you put that dude through a lot. Granted, I would also do that if I knew I was getting $11 million. But we don't know how stable this dude is. He might have shot himself on the way to the airport just because he was.
Man, can you imagine that's what it turns out to be? Like he just drove off a fucking cliff or something. He's like, I can't do this.
Yeah, because then it's like Rusty at the airport. He's like looking around for him. He's like, his flight's about to leave or whatever. And then we just do a cutaway to driving off like an overpass.
Or what is when they tell him to whatever he gets told at the airport.
Yeah,
something was delayed or whatever the fuck. And, if he just like, fuck it, and he just runs out onto the tarmac or something.
Just full mental breakdown. Yeah, absolutely.
Never gets his money.
Yep.
I guess, so the other one I was thinking, I don't know if I have a top 5 per se. I mean, I could just pick some more, I guess.
Yep.
But, just that Danny Rusty, now mentioning it a third time, of course, but just that Danny Rusty shorthand of like, they're just friends, but like the way that they can be friends and not talk forever, and then they just get back together and they're just like, oh hey, but then it's so weird the shorthand they have in that way, because all these people just completely separate. Like they're different
everyone's
parts
got their
of the
whole
globe
life,
and shit, and then they come out and like, oh hey, it was like what a weird life, to be like, okay, well, I'm not going to talk to you ever unless another crime comes up. I'll see you later.
Yeah,
maybe.
Well, how do you think that phone call goes? Just be like, all right, hey, you want to do some crime later? we got a crime. You want to do one? Yeah. Also, yeah, Ruben is like, you should go see Ruben.
Yeah, he's dying.
He's dying a little bit. He's a vegetable.
We're hoping he doesn't die.
Yeah. I don't know if you knew this, but he pays for a lot of the crime stuff we do. So, yeah. See you in 6 hours.
Is he out of money? Do you think, are we in his will?
I hope so. It's got to be a damn good will.
I mean, for him to freak out like that, I think he must have been like out of money.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and I get, like his thing when he was talking with Banks was, like this was, I guess, a little bit more like of a legitimate investment almost, and it was going to be a little bit of a like long-term kind of thing. But, he's like, I need to get on something current. Like I need to get on, something that's going to be bringing me money in for a little bit. So it did seem like maybe he was either running out or he was just not moving forward.
Or he just gambled it all into this.
Yeah.
Because what his statement, I guess, really was. He said he wanted to be, kind of have notoriety even when he's gone,
Yeah.
But like he wants to be the guy. So I don't know. Yeah, I really don't have much more.
We kind of covered all the bases. I mean, that's the stuff, and we harped on what was good there. But I mean, yeah, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of nonsense that occurred throughout this, but they just happened to make it at least look cool enough or be interesting enough that we weren't too upset about it.
Yeah, as I said, overall, I liked it.
Yeah.
I mean, it only gets like about a 7.3 from me.
Sure.
But like, I mean, these 3 movies are definitely in the like rewatch rotation for me. Like, if I have a free day,
Yeah.
Ocean's Marathon sounds good to me.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of the better kind of that like heist style, but still kind of like that buddy hang, type of vibe. So
how they get everything to just everything just looks so smooth. I mean, I guess mine is 12. Like 12's kind of like the
12 was
taken out of your element type thing, where
a little bit oddities.
But 11 and 13 really, like, everything's just smooth.
Yeah.
Like everybody's just cool.
What I like about
Cool as
12
can be.
is that it wasn't about a casino. Like we moved on to just like a different focus for a little while,
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, we're back to doing casinos because casinos are cool.
Yeah.
The test group said they want to see more casinos.
Well, and I guess the thing that is funny to me about it is like why I say it's like the NBA All-Star game, you know, let's just do some cool stuff, let's not get hurt.
Yeah.
Is they're just finding a way to game all the games in the casino. They're not really like, you know, taking a thing. There's not a lot of like, I mean, I guess there is the legal repercussions, but they've also gamed the legal system here because, you know, like Danny's saying to a bank at the end there, he goes, yeah, well, let's face it, you're not calling the cops.
Yep.
And, yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of stuff going on. It's just kind of like, all right, well, let's get some fake dice in, and I got this lighter thing, and we're going to do an earthquake. Now, granted, that's a little much, but
It's a big deal. The magnetron seems like a bit much too.
yeah.
Little portable EMP, basically.
But I don't know. It just felt so much more laid back. The stakes were so much lower because then Ruben does wake up, and then you're like, well, you know, if
Like,
nothing
who cares
else,
then? Like, all this could
Yeah.
go to shit, but Ruben's fine.
if nothing else, Ruben's not dead. So
Yeah.
cool. So I don't know, but I did like it, and I would watch it again for sure. So
Yeah. I had a mild thought, though, about if you remember original Ocean's 11, where dude was running across the street and then pretty much had the heart attack in the middle of the street and just died right there.
yeah,
I mildly thought that we would see that from Ruben. You know, like the
just be in the road.
yeah. So like I really did kind of think that was at least a possibility that like he was kind of the second wind. You know, that remotivator. You know, once he came up on comms, everyone was like, Ruben, where you been? You know, like everyone was very excited, and I felt like to balance out maybe how well everything had been going. That we needed a loss in there, I think, to balance it out. So I was like, what if, you know, they do this, and then people are like leaving the building, and it's like Ruben's walking out after the earthquake, and then, you know, he has the heart
Dies
attack.
in the road.
Yeah.
The other thought I had there when you said like, for whatever, because where he has the heart attack is in this under construction casino, right?
Yeah.
So like, part of me thought, you know, maybe he just kind of stumbles, and then he's like has his heart attack and falls off.
Just pancakes himself on the sidewalk. Oh,
Did you hear about
jeez.
Ruben? That was just a very different movie, and they're all just kind of hanging out and being sad.
Yeah. Either that, or it's like a much more aggressive revenge heist, you know? Like, we're here to do permanent, long-lasting damage to banks and everything he loves.
Or they they kill like every casino owner in Vegas.
They just snuff him. There's no heist. They just walk up and find him and just shoot him.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. But yeah, I'm pretty much done.
Yep.
You got a rating or whatever?
7.1 was where I was landing with this guy.
Cool.
It was a fun time. Definitely kind of that buddy hang thing on the rewatch wheel. So
Dig it.
very good.
All right. Well, thanks for listening or watching. Subscribe to us all those places: Spotify, Apple, YouTube. Look at us on the Twitter at Content Crisis One, Instagram, just Content Crisis. Email us, contentcrisishotline@yahoo.com for anything, you know.
And just to talk, even we're
Just,
fine.
yeah. Well, yeah. All right. So thanks and goodbye. And then it's gonna be awkward because I gotta wake the monitor up and it's a whole thing. So
Yeah, it's all right. We can fix that in post.
or just leave it.